Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn and this is the February reading for Capricorn Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. This month I will be using the Star Tarot spread in honor of Aquarius season, and let's get into the reading. The card that came out in the position for your present situation is the Nine of Pentacles. And this is an indication that right now you're really kind of experiencing a sense of satisfaction, particularly in the arena of like your finances. I feel like you're feeling financially stable, you're feeling financially abundant, self-sufficient. You have all the things that you want, you have all the things that you need. You are definitely swimming in abundance and it freaking feels good, right? And so that's kind of like the space that you're in this year. The year has really started out good for you. There's a sense that you're kind of harvesting the fruits of all your hard work. You might have been able to cash in on some investments that you've made, or basically something that you actually planted, an idea that you planted. You kind of are reaping the benefits of that right now. And so you might be like flush with cash, right? But this is definitely due to labor that you've done. Like, it's not just, money that's been given to you. It's not a gift. This is money that you've worked for, and the reaping the benefits of your hard work and your dedication. And so right now, like, you're feeling really good this month. In the position of your emotions is the Magician. And so even though you're in like this really good space right now, there's this idea here that you want to create more, right? So you might be kind of in the space where you're thinking about branching out, starting your own business. Some of you could be navigating into this space where you feel like you want to create a family. I also kind of get the sense that some of you are really kind of trying to venture like into more spiritual aspects, really getting in touch and in tune with your spirituality, which for some reason feels a little, I don't know, it feels like you're kind of nervous about that. All of the above, actually. You're nervous about all three things. So whatever it is that pertains to you, like, I feel like a sense of nervousness with that because, you're doing what you do, you're familiar with, but there is this sense that you want to create more, right? You want to step into the space of the Magician, which, by the way, this is like my absolute favorite rendition of the Magician card. I have a photo of this in my journal. This is the Modern Witch tarot deck, just in case. But anyway, so you're really in a sense of in a place where you feel like you want to create, you want to get in tune with this idea of stepping out on your own and really kind of like channeling spirit and being in a space to create where you're co-creating with spirit and using ideas that have been coming to you. I feel like you've been getting really good ideas and you're trying to think about how do you make that idea grow? How do you make that idea successful? How do you turn that into a situation that is ultimately financially beneficial for you and the life that you want to create, the life that you want to live? Like, how do you do that? I feel like that is kind of, where you're at right now. The card that came out in the position of your beliefs is the Nine of Swords in the reverse. And so this feels like some inner issues going on, right? So like the Nine of Swords is, you're a little fearful of something, and it's causing you a lot of worry. Could be keeping you up at night, worrying. But the way that this card is positioned in this spread, with the Nine of Pentacles looking at the Magician and then the Nine of Swords kind of facing away from the Nine of Pentacles. This is past energy. This is kind of, so if I could put it out in order, it would be the Nine of Swords, right? It's laid out just that way. So the Nine of Swords is your past, the Nine of Pentacles is your present, and the Magician is like your future, right? So in terms of the way the cards are laid out, it's actually perfect. So in the past position, it's like you had a lot of anxiety about stepping out on your own, about doing your own thing. I feel like you've gotten a lot of success in terms of the work that you do and the work that you put in, due to the fact that you're operating within a structure that's already established. And so right now it feels like you're stepping outside of that and to do something completely out of your comfort zone. And I feel like that is freaking you out because you don't know what that's going to look like, right? You're not really sure about what this is going to look like. I feel like you're a little bit hesitant about it because you're kind of concerned about whether or not you're going to be as successful in this new venture by yourself or stepping into something new, that's completely different from what you're used to, if you're going to have the same successes as you've had already. And so that's what I feel for the way that these cards are laying out. And I want to pull some clarifiers for the Nine of Swords. And the clarification cards that came out, and I'm using the Grand Tableau Lenormand Oracle cards, and the cards that came out is 27 for ladder, the 12 for birds, and the 17 for stork. So again, I feel like this is kind of explaining where your anxiety in the past is coming from, because I feel like it's in the past position, right? So this is due to, the letter is really about communication. It's about some sort of information that comes into you. Like I said, it could be a letter, it could be a text, it could be an email, it could be whatever. Like, it's communication that came into you. Most likely there's some sort of gossip attached to this because the bird's card is kind of like an indication of like a lot of gossip, like talking, chatty, very like nervous energy, nervous behavior. And so the combination of those cards is an indication that you might have gotten some gossip, right? That came into you. It might have you feeling anxious, anxiety, nervous, all the things, which would actually kind of line up with the Nine of Swords energy. Like, that's what the Nine of Swords energy is about. So as a clarification, it obviously makes complete sense, right? And so the worry here is indicated by the 17 card, which is basically talking about change and transformation, specifically in transformation in the way that you communicate. Again, this is all about communication and then also nervous communication. So be mindful about the way that you communicate certain things. Be mindful also about the way that you talk to yourself about certain things. Specifically when it comes to your ability to change, because I feel like this is like a self-talk thing in your head where you're like doubting yourself, or you're really trying to like talk yourself out of something, or you're really just worried about failing. And so there's a conversation going on in your head that you need to be mindful of, right? This could be outside communication. Other people maybe gossiping or talking about you, and that has kind of come back to you. And so they're talking about your, like, how successful you'll be. Like, if you're able to do this, like for some of you, you might be thinking about leaving your job and, like I said, going off and starting something on your own. And so the conversations that you've heard surrounding that choice have you kind of feeling some type of way, like, like, am I making a mistake? Am I doing the wrong thing? And I feel like you're just like in this space where you're really just nervous about the change and what that's going to look like. But also, like I said, in the process, there's a sense here that you need to think about your communication and the way that you communicate. At the heart of the matter, and kind of like the driving force behind like this reading, it's also the Signify card, is the Death card. The Death card is essentially about endings. It's about change. It's about transformation. It's about movement. It's about transitioning out of a situation, transitioning out of a place, transitioning out of a relationship. It's about the end of something. And so I feel like I said, a lot of this, and with all endings, there are new beginnings. And so I feel like you're at the stage where you have sown your seed, you have reaped the rewards of your harvest, and now you are on to planting a new garden, right? And you're at that beginning stage where you're planning and you're preparing. But this is definitely at the heart of all of this is really like an ending that you're dealing with in preparation to transition into a new phase in your life. I pulled some clarifiers for the death card, and the cards that came out as a clarification are the snake, is a snake, and the crossroads. So again, there is this idea of making a decision and making a choice to move forward. Like you can stay where you're at or you can move forward. The choice is really up to you, right? And so I kind of feel like you're in that space where you're really trying to kind of strike out on your own. And so the guidance for this card is really to kind of follow your instincts, especially because if you look at the female in the top of the card, where the 22 is, you see that she's looking down at the magician. And so this is really like an aspect of really trusting your intuition and allowing yourself to co-create and kind of develop this new idea right along with spirit and kind of following your intuition along the way. Some of the things that you should be mindful about, though, in terms of the snake card, is sometimes when you are focused on a goal or a mission, there's a sense that that focus can become like really narrow, and you can be focused to the point where you get manipulative because your ultimate goal is completing what it is that you want to complete. And sometimes there are people that go to the extreme and are very calculated in the execution of their plan to the point where they become extremely self-serving and to the point like of being overly manipulative. Ultimately speaking, though, the snake card is really is about wisdom, and it's about your knowledge, and it's about taking that wisdom and taking that knowledge to kind of move forward in the next phase of your life. And I feel like, I said like you're on that, you're right on the precipice of something amazing, right? So you're really trying to just make that choice about the path that you want to take. And I feel like intuitively speaking, I feel like you know where you need to go, and you know where you want to go. But I feel like you're your own worst enemy right now. So if you're still in the space where you're, stressing, like the Nine of Cups is showing here, I don't really feel like you need to be doing that. I feel like you need to be kind of like following your intuition and following the guidance that you're kind of being presented with along the way. Some of you might be seeing 9-9, and 9-9 is an angel number that is basically representative of allowing your angels to guide you on this work that you need to do. It's about stepping into your power and realizing what your destiny is on this earth. Like it's about aligning with your soul purpose and your mission. And so you're really at that space. So if you see 9-9, then you know this is about you, right? Okay. In the position of the unconscious, that thing that is hidden, but that will eventually come to light, is the Queen of Swords. So first things first, if you notice in this particular card, the Queen of Swords has a bird hanging over her sword, right? Which again was an element that came out with the clarifications before about nervous chatter and nervous conversation. And so like I said, I feel like there's information that's coming to you in the form of gossip, in the form of communication with people. And I feel like you have to kind of be able to decipher and kind of cut through the nonsense of what is true and what is just like, just people just running their mouth because they ain't got nothing else to do, right? So this card is ultimately a card of you kind of being an independent thinker, being in control of your thoughts, being in control of the way that you think, particularly when it comes to figuring out what is true and what is not, and finding the truth in a situation, no matter how many voices are coming at you, or how many different opinions are coming at you. I think you have the ability to kind of decipher what it is that is true and what it is that's not, and coming up with your own decision and really being an independent thinker, and also speaking the truth when necessary. Like if you call bullshit, you're calling bullshit. Like, and it's okay to do that, right? So you just got to let people know, okay, dude, I don't believe you. This is nonsense, right? So, but again, be mindful of your communication, but communicate in a way that you're being very clear and just upfront, because sometimes when you're not that way, people are very unclear about your boundaries. And so there is an element of also really making your boundaries be known so that people don't, kind of like overstep their boundaries, right? In the position of your hopes and your dreams and ultimately your fears is the King of Cups. And as you can see, he's in the reverse. And so the fear being the King of Cups is that, and again, I feel like this, along with the Nine of Swords, is past energy. It's the energy that you're coming out of, right? Because again, they're both facing away from the core issue and the way that you're feeling right now. While those two cards are looking directly at, they're looking ahead. The Magician is looking straight ahead with focus, and the Queen of Swords is looking straight ahead. While she's not looking directly at us, she is looking straight ahead into the future, which is where these cards are kind of, if you see the movement in the cards, that's what's happening, right? And so with the King of Cups in the reverse, this is past energy. It's really indicating a sense of you kind of being worried about, turning into an emotionally manipulative person, or as a result of stepping out on your own, kind of feeling like unsure about yourself, not really necessarily feeling prepared to deal with the changes that are coming, because there is the element of like turbulent waters, and that could just be the events that you're fearing that are going to occur, but it can also be just your turbulent emotions due to this new aspect of your life that you're going to be embarking on. And so there's a sense that you want to get power and control over your feelings, and you also want to be aware that if the process that you're going through becomes a little stressful and a little strenuous, I feel like you are definitely doing what you're called to do. And so that never comes easy, but you are in a space where you're ready for it. And I feel like you might need to know that. Like, you need to know that. And if you don't know it, I feel like you're in that space where you're transitioning out of being afraid or being hesitant into a space where you're a little bit more confident. Like I said, the Death card is here, the Nine of Pentacles, looking at the Magician and the Queen of Swords. So it's like a transition and a movement out of these nervous, scared, unsure type of energy into a more confident energy that is ready to co-create with spirit the life that you want, being able to reap the rewards of hard work, being honest and speaking your truth, and also creating boundaries and being able to see clearly what is and what is not for you. The clarification for the King of Cups is the Fish card and the Man card, which I thought was freaking funny because, I don't know, the King of Cups and then the Fish, I felt like it kind of just, it went perfectly, right? But the King of Cups in the Lenormand deck is really talking about wealth. So, I mean, come on, really? It's talking about wealth, but it's also talking about financial abundance, right? But it's also talking about what is valuable to you. Sometimes we kind of think of things in terms of currency and not, other things like emotional stability, emotional wellness. Those are also valuable things. Peace is a valuable thing. And so this is the card that's really asking for you to kind of ascertain what is valuable to you, right? The other card that came out is a Man. So this is a warning right here, right? So for some of you, like I said, I just explained to you in terms of what the King of Cups, but there's also an alternate thing happening here where this man is the King of Cups in this reading. And so that is someone that is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, male or masculine presenting individual that is kind of greedy. They could already have money, but they are kind of like greedy. I feel like if this is a choice between you starting something with this person or starting to do something on your own, or it's also a business partner that you are currently working with and you're trying to kind of navigate on your own, this is something that you need to be aware of, right? I feel like their focus is on financial abundance, and it might not necessarily kind of include you. I mean, it includes you in the sense that you're beneficial, right? And this person does have a level of greed with them. They're wealthy, they want to maintain their wealth, and you might be offering them a lot of benefit for you being there with them. You leaving is a problem because they need you, right? You want to be mindful of who you're being loyal to. Are you being loyal to yourself? Are you being a company person? Are you being loyal to someone else outside of yourself? Are you going to honor and be loyal to someone else's dreams and someone else's missions? Are you going to be loyal to yourself? Because in some cases, and for some of you, this man could be you. And this isn't so much about the greed aspect. It's the element of kind of allowing your fears about moving forward and about stepping out and about developing wealth. Like, you want to be focused on what wealth actually is to you and what's important to you. For some of you, like I said, it might not be about the money. It's about the benefit that you will offer society on a whole, as opposed to just, pockets. And that's for some of you. So that is something to be mindful of. And so the final card that came out, which is the outcome of the situation, is the Sun card. How amazing is that? Right? So this is about success. This is about living in the sun and like living your dreams and living out loud and being victorious and moving forward. There's a horse here, which is kind of like reminiscent of like the Chariot card. So really being successfully moving forward in the choices that you make, whatever that choice is. I feel like intuitively speaking, you know which way to go. You know what it is that you need to do. You just need to do it. And understand that when you do and when you're focused on your goal, there will be ultimate success. I heard something earlier today that even if you don't succeed the first time, or you're stepping into something new, I was saying this earlier, there is a learning curve attached to something new that you've never done before. And so the success is there. So even if it doesn't come in the first go round, what did she say? She said, it's delayed, it's not denied. So that is the message for you today. Do whatever it is that you want to do. You're going to be successful. You just have to put in the time, put in the energy, and put in the work. You're like a farmer out here tending to your seed and tending to your crops so that you can benefit at the end from the work that you've put in. And as long as you remind yourself of that, you will be successful. Yeah, this is a good reading. I really like this. I mean, if you also look at the cards, one last thing, there is this element, if you look at the cards and the way that the colors shift upwards, how they all start off like really dark at the bottom, and then that light with the air and the water is there, that spirit. And then so that spirit kind of leading the charge in this situation and really moving you from a space of being sunken into like a rigid space where you feel stuck, and being in a space where you're air and you're water, so you're light, you're flowing, you're co-creating with spirit, like I said before, and you're in a space where you're trusting your intuition, you're not letting your emotions get the best of you when you fail, or with the influence of other people gossiping and doing all the things. and you're like really in a good space. And at the end, there is success. Okay, I'm done now for real this time. So thank you for listening. I really, really appreciate you for being here. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know how this is manifesting in your life. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, please, and hit the bell for post notifications. Come over and follow me on my socials. And thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.